Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Unbox This Thing. You may not have a YouTube studio, but I'm sure a lot of you have a place or a desk in your home with a whole bunch of projects going on. That's where PCBware come in. They're able to handle things like 3D printing, custom PCBs, CNC machining for all your custom projects, packaged to your doorstep. All you need to do is go to their website. They currently are still running their 10-year anniversary sale. They have a really great website, a great setup where you order and get everything done. So a big thank you to PCBware for being today's sponsor. Back to the video. We have yet another device in the studio. It is, like I said last week, I want to document this because it's not every day that you get a niche in technology where every week there's one, maybe two releases. So here is the, because I don't get all the devices. Here is the Powkiddy V10. Let's have a look. Basic skills. That's the features of the device. Skills of the device. So here's what's interesting about this. This is the RK3326 chipset. The same chipset. Let me just double check this quickly. Yes, the same chipset that we found in the RG351 series. And this is, to me, to date, the best Game Boy Advanced emulator handheld on the market. There are sorts of caveats to that, but this still is one of the best. So I think this is about 2020 now when it came out. It's got integer scaling on the screen for GBA, perfect aspect ratio and all that. So this is the same. This has let's look at the basic skills. It's 480 by 320. So what I find interesting about that, in 2024, we are getting the same performance. And like I've mentioned before, what Powkiddy have accidentally or purposefully cottoned onto is the fact that you can bring out the same chipset, but then try to perfect what you are currently doing. And I do think that's what they have done with this. Every iteration lately with Powkiddy gets better and better. And that is quite a big deal. So let's have a look. They've got 3.5mm headphone jack, cool little start and select buttons, a plus and minus here, probably for volume. Very nice triggers. Look at this, like curved triggers here. Powkiddy really seem to be learning from what users are saying. Very nice triggers. Plastic doesn't look amazing on the action buttons and the D-pad, and a clip open battery door. Quite a big battery in there, 3000 milliamp hour. So essentially what we have is a very nice case, pretty decent plastic, a vertical version of this with the same chipset. I've got a 64 gig here, and it's in a vertical form factor. So that is really the change we've got. Running Arc OS. It is quite big, so it's quite a big chunky device. Here is the RG280V, quite a lot bigger than that. So if you were looking for something that's very compact, that is not this, but the chunkiness, I have to say, when I saw the pictures of this, I thought to myself, this is a very ugly device. I went for the purple, which I think was a good choice. Massive bezel here, but you get the little light here, little Game Boy-esque light here. There are a lot of things happening here that make this quite special. The guys that comment on my channel constantly, if they had only made a bigger screen and a better chipset, which every single device could have that possibility, you're not going to like this because this is an older chipset, an older, lower resolution screen. You can even see here on the menu that it is slightly lower resolution. So the keys really are not intuitive. So plus and arrow. So these are shortcut keys. So if you press plus and arrow, it'll change the volume. And if you press the minus and other buttons, you get like save states and that. So that is not intuitive at all. I thought those were volume buttons. So anyway, it's something to get used to. So let's put integer scaling on. Yeah, so that's integer scaling on. No bezels. Yeah, this intro screen for zero emission looks great on the screen. So essentially, if you are a Game Boy Advance fan and you are a vertical device fan, you are going to absolutely love this. Action buttons are nice. Okay, that is quite bad. So what we're checking here for is, if his gun goes up while I'm pressing forward, and it does. So we've got the typical Powkiddy D-pad here. When he goes down, wiggles, it is bad. I've had worse. I tested the Anbernic RG40XX, and it was actually a little bit worse than this. So I'm not sure why D-pads are like this lately. Like I say, I don't know if we're paying more attention to it or what it is. But anyway, this D-pad is not the best D-pad, but it's the same D-pad we've gotten in all the Powkiddys. What I will say about Powkiddy is they have been the sort of budget, slightly lower quality choice. Their devices really have gotten better and better, and they improve with every iteration. I've been enjoying Powkiddy's action buttons of late. D-pad, it is what it is. Front-facing speaker is a huge thumbs up. The shoulder button ergonomics are wonderful. Nice little Powkiddy etched into the plastic there. Nice little battery door.
24 hours later.
All right, so let's check some user comments. I made a post on my YouTube channel. Patrick says he's hopeful. Good for you, Patrick. Corny Puddle thinks these low-end Powkiddy devices have a certain amount of charm. I tend to agree. Sad Tarek says he hopes I like it as much as the rest of you. I don't think so. Audio Signebi asks why no Wi-Fi, and I wonder if it hasn't to do with Wi-Fi interference, because I know that the Anbernic had that problem. Small Mistake says he can't wait for me to do the shake test and hear nothing. It is very good. There are more expensive devices that shake way more than this. This gives a very premium experience for the price. Then VHS Retro Gamer brings something up that I want to harp on about for the rest of this video. He says, loud shoulders and not ideal resolution for anything but GBA. Also, the absence of Onion OS-like save and shutdown option in 2024 is kinda, come on guys. Sleep only is not enough for busy people. Otherwise, I don't know. If you're a fan of GBA, there is no better deal, I guess. So I quickly want to say on that note, the screen has got a great saturation, but it is geared towards Game Boy Advance. TV systems, you need like maybe bilinear filtering to make it look good because of the low resolution. There are issues in that regard, but it is definitely a Game Boy Advance dream. Then I want to talk about pocketability. For a device like this, you would expect it to be more pocketable, and it just isn't. And then no Wi-Fi. This is an issue in 2024. I mean, like he says, come on guys, you know, with no Wi-Fi, you can't do port masters, which a lot of people enjoy. You can't do Wi-Fi things like artwork scraping, which also a lot of people enjoy. I tend to play down Wi-Fi sometimes because you can just set the device up, but it is a problem. And then I have to talk about the firmware experience. Like you said, there's no auto resume, there's no quick shutdown, and I do feel like in 2024, that is a problem. For the nerds, not so much. For the end users, for people who aren't super techie, it is a very big problem, and this niche is becoming more and more mainstream. And this device I can't recommend to people because as great as ArcOS is, it's a very nerdy firmware. It's got a lot of sort of little hang-ups and workarounds, and to do Wi-Fi, you don't go into the main menu, you go into a separate menu to do the Wi-Fi, and then obviously you need a dongle to do any Wi-Fi things, and all of that. So the firmware is not ideal, and it's mostly limited by the chipset. So putting an older chipset in here saves money, but it causes quite a few issues on the other side. So gameplay, obviously Game Boy Advance, like I've mentioned, looks wonderful. Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Game Gear, they all look great, but with the bezels on the side, which, you know, like it or lump it. PS1's going to play quite well on here. You're going to be at the limit on Dreamcast and PSP. I would say for the TV systems, like Mega Drive, like NES, use bilinear filtering. It does look quite nice, but it does smooth out the pixels, and I know a lot of people like sharp pixels. There again, we're kind of losing the nerd audience as well, because TV systems aren't going to look perfect on you. So for the end, like the people who aren't super into this, they don't mind bilinear filtering, but the rest of us kind of do. So there is where I kind of wonder, are they losing both audiences with this device? In 2024, we're getting a device with a low resolution, no Wi-Fi, no retro achievements, and no auto resume. That's kind of unacceptable. So this device is made really well. It's really pretty. It's nicely put together, sort of on Powkiddy standards. But I do feel like maybe as guys in the scene, it's that sort of the frog boiling to death because they've been in it so long and they're getting used to the mediocrity. Because at this price point, and I'll put the prices on the screen, you've got Anbernic's RG35XXH, you've got Anbernic's RG35XX Plus, and you've got the Miyoo Mini Plus, which I think is the ultimate competitor. I've got these two in purple. And when I put them side by side, to me, I'm like, just get the Miyoo Mini Plus. I think this is a great device for someone who has a few devices and just wants a Game Boy Advance dedicated device. And as a reviewer, it's really nice to get something that's different and fun. But if I have to advise you which one to get, I would say get the Miyoo Mini Plus.